Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Our guest tonight is Senator Kwankwaso, a lawmaker and a presidential aspirant contestant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. Now, quickly, Senator, which one of the strands of restructuring do you think this country is in urgent need of? Or do you think that all the strands are, correct, perhaps?
You see, if you look at the National Assembly as it is constituted today under the 1999 Constitution as amended, I mean, all these issues can be put on the table. And of course, Nigerians will debate it. And whatever can go through the screen that is already established by the Constitution, so be it. I don't think there is any issue there. The reality is a responsible government should listen to the people. A responsible government should always give an opportunity for people to air their views, for all these issues to go through the rigor of the Constitution as it is today in this country.
Can I ask you specifically, where do you stand on state police?
Well, the issue of state police has been on the banner for a very, very long time in this country. And on one hand, I am one of those who were supporting the police, the police owned by states in this country. But some of the recent developments that we have seen, especially in many states, make it a little bit, people have to be a little bit cautious. People have to study it and make sure that if we have it on the ground, is being utilized effectively in such a way that it benefits the people. We have seen states today in this country where governors are fighting opponents, where people or states are using it for so many other things that can be very dangerous to the democracy itself. So I think the debate is still on. People are divided on that. But for me, who has been in government, out of government, and in government many times in this country for over 26 years, I can comfortably say that there are many issues of state police, especially at the state level, as it is constituted today. You have seen that in January, I wanted to go to Kano. The national police wrote to me not to go. Now, of course, under the influence of the state government with their collaborators here in Abuja, you can imagine if that state has state police, only God knows what will happen. But what governors always forget is, I was governor 1999-2003. I left. I went back 2011 to 2015. Now I've completed my terms. I'll never go back and be governor again. Now, governors, even when they are about to finish their terms, they think and they believe that that time will never come. Once you start, one day you have to finish. And it's only when you finish, you are outside there in the sun, that you realize that there are issues in various states. And if you look at the democracy itself, you find today a certain party is in opposition. Tomorrow, it goes into government. And people learn nothing about it. There
are questions as to what you have learned from that. I mean, that's one. I'm going to come to that question in a moment. But then I would like to ask you, as somebody who has been in and out of government, somebody who has been on the receiving end of a number of, what's been happening in the country in recent times, if at the end of the day you do get the ticket of your party, to run as president, what will be your agenda? What will be the agendas that you will be pursuing? What will be your priority for this country?
Well, first of all, if I may summarize it, I would say the welfare of the people in this country. But there are areas, even when I was governor, that I selected and put a lot of resources, a lot of attention and emphasis on it.
Now, welfare,
and
what
that's
do you mean?
The area of education. Education is very critical and is very important in this country. I remember in Kano, we encouraged people to bring their children to schools, especially primary schools. We are giving them 2 sets of uniform every year, free of charge. We are giving them meals every day in Kano State for the 8 years that I was governor. We built thousands of classrooms, toilets, fencing the schools, offices, and so on and so forth. Of course, before I left Kano, there was no child of school age that was not given an opportunity to go to school in terms of facilities, equipments, and so on and so forth. We built enough secondary schools, technical schools, school for Islamic studies for children who have finished their primary schools to get admission. And by the time toward the end of my tenure in Kano, every child that was qualified to go to secondary school in Kano was given an opportunity to go to secondary school. So also,
how much would you say that affected or impacted the Almajiri system in Kano?
Yes, we have a law in Kano today, which I signed, that stopped the issue of Almajiri system as we know it today. And the law is very clear that you cannot take your child or children to outside Kano or even within Kano from one point A to point B. We made it in such a way that schools were established in those local governments, in those wards and so on, so that people can take their children to those schools. And that's why we established the School for Islamic Studies in all the 44 local governments. We established technical schools in all the 44 local governments, so that parents can take their children there. And even the begging, we have a law in Kano today that's banned begging. And during our time, you don't see them begging anywhere in public places or even in houses, because we selected, we had a census, we hit the number of our beggars on the streets, we trained them, those that we could train, and of course gave them capital free of charge to go and start their businesses.
So for you, education is going to be key. But then, we also have labor matters raising its head. Labor is, at war with the government of the day over minimum wage. Who do you think should take precedence in this matter? Government sometimes contends that, yes, there should be a minimum wage, but also thinks that states should have a greater say. What do you have to say, considering the fact that you have been governor of a state and you're also looking to be president of this country?
Well, I have not seen anything wrong in having a minimum wage, but we have to take everything into consideration. I'm just coming back from Jigawa today. The minimum wage in Jigawa and that of Lagos, one has to make a reasonable comparison and look at the realities on the ground before you say that this is the barest minimum government and other organizations should pay their workers. And also, it is very important to say that as far as I'm concerned, workers are working to produce certain results. And that results must be there. It is very important. If you look at the law, whatever, and all reasons why you have staff is to produce results. It's not just the welfare to pay people salary. And I'm happy to say that in Kano, before I left government, in fact, last two budgets we had, we turned what we met, where you have about 70% as recurrent and 30% capital. By the time I was leaving Kano, 75% of our resources were on capital. Only 25 were for recurrent, salaries, allowances, traveling, keeping government moving, and so on and so forth.
Corruption is not going to be an important issue for you?
Certainly. You see, but the
especially when you consider the fact that you were indicted once by your state government over corruption.
No, that one is political. That one is just political. I'm sure he must be regretting it now because it doesn't hold the water. If anybody has got, he should take it to court. You would have taken it to court. So that was just political. White paper is just a paper initiated by an enemy, side committee of enemies, and they write a report. If you have any serious issue, go to court, and court will give its verdict. And I have to say that I am so happy that all those things have happened to the extent that they have strengthened me to fight corruption. In fact, I've been fighting corruption myself. If there is any corruption in any government, in my government, in fact, if there is any individual who I found corrupt at that time, and even now I'm looking for one. So the issue of corruption is a very serious issue, but I'm sure there are good ways or better ways of fighting corruption to ensure that we have corrupt-free society.
Well, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, thank you for coming on Hard Copy.
Thank you very much, Mape.
And we also wish you all the best. Well, people, that's the program tonight, but as always, we look forward to your responses. Please do share with us how hopeful you feel as Nigeria celebrates 58 years of her independence. Write to hardcopy at channelstv.com or tweet at CTV Hardcopy. Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Whatever happens, I'll say keep hope alive and keep your head up. Good night.